If you're listening to this at night, maybe alone, maybe in a quiet room where every little sound feels louder than it should, then you already know why road trips can be terrifying, because the highway doesn't just take you somewhere. Sometimes, it takes you away from everyone who could help. Tonight I have 3 road trip horror stories. And just a heads up, 2 of them are true stories sent in by viewers. Names and locations have been changed for privacy, but everything else is exactly how it happened. So dim the lights, lock the doors, and if you're on a road trip right now, maybe, don't look in your rearview mirror for a second. Story 1. The last gas station. I used to think the worst part of driving at night was falling asleep at the wheel, but I learned something on a drive through the countryside that changed my mind. It was late October, a Wednesday night. I'd worked a double shift and then volunteered to cover for a coworker because I needed the money. By the time I left, it was after midnight. I lived about 2 hours from my job, and the route home cut through a stretch of road that always felt abandoned. No houses, no streetlights, just dark fields, patches of forest, and long, empty straightaways that made your headlights feel like the only thing real. About 40 minutes into the drive, my low fuel light flicked on. I remember sighing, because I'd been meaning to fill up earlier and kept putting it off. And normally, that wouldn't have been a problem. Except I was on the rural road, not the highway. I pulled up my map app, but the signal was weak and the screen kept freezing. Still, it managed to show a gas station about 15 minutes ahead. It had one of those generic names like Fuel Stop, and it looked like it sat on the edge of a tiny town. 15 minutes later, my headlights caught the sign. Except the fuel stop wasn't in a town. It was alone, sitting at a 4-way intersection, surrounded by nothing but trees and fields. There were 2 pumps, and a small building with a porch light that flickered like it was deciding whether it wanted to exist. The lot was empty, no cars, no people, just my tires crunching over gravel as I pulled in. I sat in the car for a second, staring at the building. Something felt off. Not in the supernatural way people talk about. More like the way your body notices a place is wrong before your brain catches up. But I needed gas. The light was on, and my gauge was low enough that I could almost feel the car judging me. So I got out, slid my card, and started pumping. The night air was cold, and the only sound was the pump clicking and the faint hum of insects. Halfway through, I noticed the building door was open. Not wide open, just cracked. Like someone had gone inside and never bothered to close it. I hadn't seen anyone come out. Is less than #0. 5 is greater than, but that didn't mean there wasn't an attendant. I kept my eyes on the pump, but my attention kept snapping to that door. Every time the porch light flickered, the gap looked wider. Then I heard it. A voice. Soft, like it was coming from behind me. Hey. I froze, hand still on the pump handle. My brain did that thing where it tried to pretend nothing happened for half a second. Then I turned around. There was a man standing near the edge of the lot, where the gravel met the grass. I hadn't seen him walk up. He was just there. He was tall, wearing a dark jacket, and his hands were tucked into his pockets. I couldn't see his face clearly because he stayed just outside the range of my headlights. Sorry, I said. Didn't see you. He didn't move closer. He just tilted his head a little, like he was studying me. You're driving late. It wasn't a question. It was the kind of statement that felt like a hand closing around the back of your neck. Yeah, I said, trying to sound casual. Work. He nodded slowly. Then he said, you should come inside. My stomach dropped. Not because of the words, exactly, but because of how he said them. Like it wasn't an invitation. Like it was a correction. I'm good, I said. Just getting gas. He took one step forward, still just at the edge of the light. It's cold, he said. You'll want to come inside. The pump clicked off. Full. Perfect timing. I forced myself not to rush. I put the nozzle back, capped my tank, and tried to keep my breathing slow. Then I glanced toward the building again. The door was still cracked, but the inside was dark. No cashier, no movement, nothing. You work here? I asked. The man didn't answer right away. He took another step. Now I could see more of him, and what I saw made my skin prickle. His jacket wasn't just dark. It looked dirty, like it had been dragged through mud. And his hands were still in his pockets, but his elbows were angled outward, like he was gripping something. I took a step back toward my car. I don't work here, he said, and you shouldn't be out here alone. That's when I noticed something else. Behind him, near the road, there was another figure, and then another. At first, I thought they were trees, but trees don't shift their weight. My heart started hammering so hard it made my ears ring. The man looked over his shoulder, like he was checking whether the others were ready. Then he looked back at me. Come inside, he repeated. I didn't answer. I walked backward, keeping my eyes on him, feeling for my car door handle. He took a step forward. The figures behind him moved too. I yanked the door open, threw myself into the driver's seat, and locked the doors so fast my fingers hurt. The man was moving now, not running, but walking quickly, like he knew I wouldn't make it in time. I started the car. The engine sputtered once, then caught. I threw it into reverse and backed out, gravel spraying. The man reached my passenger side and slapped his palm against the window, hard enough to make the glass shudder. He leaned down, and for the first time I saw his face clearly in the dashboard glow. His eyes were wide and empty, like he wasn't angry. He was impatient. He smiled, just slightly, and mouthed something through the glass. I didn't hear it, but I read his lips. Too late. I slammed the car into drive and took off. In the rearview mirror, I saw him standing in the lot, watching me leave. The other figures moved back toward the building. And as my headlights swung across the storefront, I saw something that still makes my stomach twist. The fuel stop sign above the door was peeling, and underneath it, there was an older sign. A different name. And across that old name, spray-painted in thick black letters, was one word. Closed. I drove for another 20 minutes before I saw another car. When I finally reached a real town, I pulled into a bright, busy station and sat there shaking. I told the clerk what happened. He got quiet, then asked me where I'd stopped. When I told him, he stared at me like I was joking. That place burned down, he said. Years ago. People still try to use the pumps sometimes, but nobody's worked there since the fire. I didn't know what to say. The clerk looked down at my hands, still trembling on the counter. Then he leaned in and lowered his voice. Did you go inside? I shook my head. He let out a breath, like he'd been holding it. Good, he said. Because you're not the first person who said a man tried to get them inside. That night, I drove the rest of the way home with my eyes locked on the road. And every time a shadow shifted along the shoulder, I felt that same cold certainty that some places don't close. They just wait. Story 2. The car that wouldn't pass. This second story happened to me 2 summers ago, and it started with something so normal that I almost didn't notice it. I was driving back from visiting family, about 3 hours away. It was late afternoon when I left, but by the time I hit the highway, the sun was down, and the sky was that deep, bruised blue that makes everything feel quieter. I was alone, listening to a podcast, and thinking about absolutely nothing. The road was open, traffic was light, until I noticed a set of headlights behind me. They weren't close, just there. A car keeping the same pace I was. At first, I didn't care. On highways, people fall into little packs like migrating animals. Someone speeds up, someone slows down, and for a while, you just share the road. But then, I changed lanes to pass a slow truck. And the car behind me changed lanes too. I moved back into the right lane. The car moved back too. No big deal, I told myself. Maybe they were doing the same thing I was. So I tested it. I sped up a little. The car sped up. I slowed down. The car slowed down. It stayed behind me, always behind me, like it was attached by an invisible string. At one point, I took an exit for a rest stop. Not because I needed it, but because I wanted to see if the car would follow. And it did. The rest stop was mostly empty, just a few parked cars and the glow of vending machines. I pulled into a spot near the building, and the car pulled into a spot 2 rows behind me. I sat there, hands on the wheel, watching in the mirror. The car's engine stayed running. Its headlights stayed on. And whoever was inside didn't get out. For a minute, I tried to reason it out. Maybe they were waiting for someone. Maybe they were just resting. Maybe they hadn't even noticed me. Then the car's high beams flashed. Once. Twice. Like a signal. My mouth went dry. I got out anyway because I needed to convince myself I was being paranoid. I walked toward the building, and I could feel the car's headlights on my back like heat. Inside the rest stop, there was a sleepy attendant behind the counter. I bought a bottle of water I didn't want, just so I'd have an excuse to talk to someone. "Hey," I said, trying to sound casual. "Is it normal for people to flash their lights out there?" The attendant glanced outside through the glass doors. His face tightened a little. "Which car?" he asked. I nodded toward it. He stared for a long moment. Then he reached under the counter and pressed a button. I heard a faint click, like a lock engaging. "Stay inside for a minute," he said, quietly. My stomach dropped. "What is it?" I asked. He didn't answer directly. Instead, he leaned closer and said, "Did that car follow you here?" I nodded. The attendant exhaled slowly. Then he pulled out his phone and started typing. "I'm calling it in," he said. "Just stay where I can see you." I backed up near the vending machines, heart pounding. Through the glass, I watched the car. The driver's door opened. A man stepped out. He was average height, wearing a hoodie even though it wasn't cold. He didn't look around like someone stretching their legs. He looked straight at the building, straight at me. Even through the glass, I felt like he could see me perfectly. He started walking toward the entrance. The attendant kept his eyes on his phone, speaking quietly. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but I saw the way his jaw clenched as the man got closer. The man reached the door and tried the handle. It didn't open. He tried again. Harder. Then he leaned in toward the glass, close enough that his breath fogged it. His face was partially shadowed by the hood, but I saw his mouth move. He was talking. To me. I couldn't hear the words, but I could read his lips. Come outside. I didn't move. I couldn't. The man stared at me for a few seconds, then stepped back. He raised one hand, palm up, like he was asking a question. Then he made a slow, deliberate gesture. He pointed at me. Then he dragged his finger across his throat. The attendant finally looked up and saw it. His eyes widened. He snapped something into place under the counter, maybe a panic button, and his voice got sharper as he spoke into the phone. Outside, the man smiled. Not a friendly smile. A smile that said he knew exactly what he was doing. Then he turned and walked back to his car. Calm. No rush. He got in, and the car pulled away. But not back onto the highway. Instead, it rolled to the far end of the rest stop and parked in the darkness near the trees. It just waited. The attendant told me to stay inside until police arrived. We waited for what felt like forever, but was probably 10 minutes. 2 patrol cars showed up, lights off, and parked in a way that blocked the exit. One officer came inside and asked me questions, while the other approached the car near the trees. I watched through the glass as the officer shined a flashlight into the car. Then he stepped back suddenly, as if he'd seen something that made him reconsider getting closer. The second officer joined him, and they spoke briefly. Then both of them drew their weapons. My stomach twisted so hard I thought I might get sick. The officers opened the car door, and for a moment, I couldn't see inside. Then the flashlight beam shifted, and I saw the back seat. There were zip ties, a roll of duct tape, and a duffel bag that looked heavy. The officer inside the rest stop noticed me staring. He moved to block my view gently. "You did the right thing coming in," he said. "Do you know this person?" I shook my head. The officer nodded once, slowly, like he was confirming something he already suspected. "They're not supposed to be on the road," he said. "And they're definitely not supposed to be alone with anyone." I later found out the man had a history of violent charges. But the thing that still gets to me, the thing I can't forget, is what the attendant told me when I asked how he knew to lock the door. He hesitated, then said, "That car has been circling this rest stop for weeks. Always late, always alone, always looking for someone who is also alone." And after that night, every time I drive and see headlights behind me for too long, I don't tell myself it's nothing anymore. Because sometimes, a car isn't just following the road. Sometimes, it's following you. Story 3. The Detour. The third story was sent in by a viewer, and when I first read it, I had to put my phone down. Not because it was unbelievable, but because it was too believable. The viewer, we'll call her Maya, said this happened when she and her boyfriend took a weekend trip to visit friends. It was a simple drive. A few hours on the highway, some back roads, then a small town. They left on a Friday after work, and by the time it got dark, they were still driving. There was light rain, just enough to smear the headlights and make the road shine like wet glass. At about 10:30, their GPS recalculated and suggested a detour. It claimed there was construction ahead and that the detour would save them 20 minutes. Maya's boyfriend trusted the GPS. Maya didn't. She said she'd always had a weird feeling about letting a machine tell you where to go at night. But they were tired, and the detour looked straightforward. Is less than #0. 9# is greater than, so they took it. Almost immediately, the road narrowed. The highway became a 2-lane road, then a single lane with no shoulder. Trees crowded in on both sides. And the rain got heavier. The GPS kept insisting they were on the correct route. But Maya said something felt wrong, because the further they drove, the less sense it made that this was a detour. There were no signs, no construction cones, no indication that this road was meant to handle traffic. Just darkness, and rain, and the sound of tires on wet pavement. After 15 minutes, they passed a broken-down car on the side of the road. Its hazard lights were blinking weakly. A man stood beside it, waving. Maya's boyfriend slowed. Maya immediately said, "Don't stop." The man's clothes were soaked, and he was waving both hands like it was urgent. But Maya said the scariest part was how he was positioned. He wasn't standing by the driver's door. He was standing a few steps behind the car, closer to the trees. Like he didn't want them to pull up next to him. Like he wanted them to stop where he decided. Maya's boyfriend hesitated, then drove past. As they passed, the man's face turned toward them, and Maya said she saw anger, immediate and sharp, like the mask slipped for half a second. A minute later, the GPS spoke again. "In 500 feet, turn right." There was no right turn. At least, not a real one. It was a dirt path cutting into the trees. No sign. No reflective markers. Just two muddy tracks disappearing into the forest. Maya said, "Absolutely not." But the GPS insisted. "Turn right. Turn right." Her boyfriend slowed again, confused. And that's when Maya noticed headlights behind them. A car. No, not a car. A truck. It was close. Too close for a wet, narrow road. And it wasn't passing. It was riding them. Maya's boyfriend sped up. The truck stayed with them. Then the truck flashed its lights. Once. Twice. Like it was telling them to do what the GPS said. Maya's chest tightened. She told her boyfriend to keep driving, to ignore the GPS, to ignore the path. But the GPS voice changed. It didn't sound like the normal calm navigation voice anymore. Maya said it sounded distorted. Like a bad recording. "Turn right," it said. "Turn right now." Her boyfriend glanced at the screen, annoyed, and said, "It's just glitching." But his hands tightened on the wheel. The truck behind them moved closer. Maya said she could see the outline of the grille in the mirror. And behind the windshield, a shape leaning forward. Then the truck honked. Long. Aggressive. And the GPS repeated, "Turn right now." Maya's boyfriend panicked. He swerved slightly toward the dirt path. And in that moment, Maya saw something on the side of the road, half hidden by the trees. A sign. Old. Bent. With faded reflective paint. It said, "No through road." Maya grabbed her boyfriend's arm and yelled, "Keep going." He jerked the wheel back to the left and stayed on the paved road. The truck behind them slammed on its brakes for a second, then accelerated. Maya said it felt like the truck was deciding something. Like it was weighing whether to ram them or not. Then, it backed off. Not completely. It stayed behind them, but at a normal distance now. The GPS went silent. For the next 10 minutes, they drove without a single instruction. The rain kept coming down. The road kept winding. And the truck kept following. Finally, the road opened up into a small intersection with a blinking yellow light. There was a real sign here, pointing toward a town name Maya recognized. Her boyfriend took the turn without hesitation. The truck behind them did something strange. It stopped at the intersection. Just sat there under the blinking light, engine running. It didn't follow. Maya said she watched it in the mirror as they drove away, and she saw a second truck pull up behind it. Then a third. Like they'd been waiting. They made it to their friend's place just after midnight. Shaking, soaked, trying to laugh it off. But their friends didn't laugh. When Maya described the detour, her friend's face went pale. "You went down that road?" Maya nodded. Her friend said, "People don't take that road at night. Your GPS shouldn't even suggest it. There's no service there." Maya's boyfriend pulled out his phone to show the route history. And that's when they noticed something. The route didn't exist in the history. The phone showed them driving on the highway. Then suddenly, it showed them near the town. Like the detour portion had been cut out. Maya said she checked her GPS app the next day in the sunlight, with her friends watching. She typed in the same address and selected the same, faster route. This time, it never suggested the detour. Not once. No matter how many times she refreshed. And here's the part that made my skin crawl when I read her email. Later that week, Maya looked up local news. She searched for anything about that road. Anything about people being stopped. She didn't find much, but she found one short article from a few months earlier. It mentioned a couple who'd gone missing after taking a GPS detour in that area. Their car was later found off a dirt path in the woods. Abandoned. Doors open. Hazard still blinking. No sign of the couple. And Maya said the photo of the car in the article looked exactly like the broken-down car she and her boyfriend passed. Road trips are supposed to be freedom. A long stretch of road, music playing, the world getting smaller in the rearview mirror. But the truth is, the road gives people opportunities. And not everyone out there is driving to get somewhere. Some people are just looking. If you enjoyed these stories, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. And if you have your own road trip horror story, send it in. I read every submission. Until next time, stay safe. And if you see those headlights behind you for a little too long, don't tell yourself it's nothing.